round 3 about to get started. 12:10 tee time. It's like 11:20 right now, so I gotta get there. Packing up the Airbnb this morning for the round. Should be plenty of time to just get my little putt warmed and have a good one. Morning, the wind is out. It is a little chilly, super windy, and I took the screen protector off, so hopefully I don't drop my phone today. 22 minutes before my tee time, so I'm gonna try to get a couple putts in, because I have to be at the start area about 5 minutes before. Go to the bathroom, warm up. Packing up the Airbnb obviously takes a lot, and unfortunately I played myself into a really awkward time with my daughter's naps, because she needs to sleep for an hour and a half, 3 hours after she wakes up. Getting here a little closer to the start time, which I don't mind. Kind of like feeling a little rush. I'm weird. I don't know what it is. But hopefully today's gonna be a good day. I have a fun card. I think someone I don't know. And then I think Jacob, who I played with first day, who's awesome. Aaron Gossage is on the card again. Played with him at Kansas City Wide Open the first round. So I'm fortunate that we're playing together the third round this far down, but there's a chance to make a push for getting in the cash, but not likely. So hopefully I just play as best I can with the wind being as absolutely insane as it is right now. The man, the myth, the legend.
Day 2? Well, day 3.
Day 3. Day 2 for you.
Day 2 for me.
Should be good. It's windy and cold today.
It is a little windy.
Why did you make this happen?
I'm sorry. It's my fault.
He's cashed in 7 of 10 events that he's played this year. From Denver, Colorado, Anthony Bedanza.
Let's go. You didn't say they're all C2. Well, I found a nice, beautiful spot to talk about the final round of the Discraft Presents Cascade Challenge, which ended up being around where I finally started to put some stuff together. Didn't all start out that way though, because on hole number 1, I got a little nervous and I had a lot of fun. Big shout out to Chase, who was back for his second day, my third day of the tournament, and I ended up shaking the first shot. Luckily, I had played with Aaron Gossage before. We played at the Kansas City Wide Open, which not the best tournament for me, but we had gotten to know each other a little bit, and I had a great card on the final day. Jacob, who I'd played with before. Big shout out to Zachary, who I think is local. I'm not 100% sure, but my whole card was amazing. We also played pretty decent on the final day. We had a lot of holes that were like, why are we all in 70th place right now when the way that we were playing them? Not quite the case for hole 1, since I shanked it off the drive. I ended up just pitching up and tapping in. It was super windy, and so even my kind of tap in on hole number 1, I don't know if I have the footage for that, felt a little bit sketchy. But I started with a par, which is not the end of the world. I would have loved to have birdied that one at least twice during the tournament, but the first day park job, I'll take that. And to go even on the other days, I'm pretty stoked. Hole 2 is the 985-foot par 5, and I laid up the first day and then went for the second day and really overturned it with my overstable Emperor. And so I think I had the wrong idea as to how the Emperor flew, and I ended up throwing it again. And what I realized after this shot is that Emperor, if you put it on turn, it's going to hold turn for a while before it gets overstable again. But if you throw it flat to hyzer, it's just going to dump out on you. And so I end up 70 feet short of clearing the hazard, which I know I can clear, but that was a pretty embarrassing little shot to be thrown from in there. End up throwing a solid second and a good third, and I make a putt from about 25, 30 feet from a straddle to save par. So finally I don't bogey what is probably the easiest hole in the course, one of the easier ones. I'm not 100% sure, but I ended up playing that hole 2 over par for the weekend, which is less than ideal. Hole 3, though, I end up absolutely piping, and my forehand is feeling much better. One of the things I wanted to figure out during this week was how to throw better forehands during tournaments, and I finally slowed down and just really focused on getting through the shot. It's actually the day after, and feeling a little bit sore today, so I'm glad I'm taking today off from throwing, but I end up absolutely parking this shot. Shout out Aaron Gossage, also parks it with the Buzz OS, which flips up, which is just crazy to see in person. The way that he throws some of these shots is ridiculous. And that moves us into hole number 4, where I have not birdied yet. And I throw a drive that I thought was going to be good, but it hits a tree and winds up short on a forehand. This leaves me with about 400 feet, 380 feet into the basket. And there's actually a pretty clear lane, except I have to get over some shrubs and a tree, and I have to kind of not get lucky, but throw a pretty specific shot from an off fairway lie. And I almost make it happen. I threw it really well with my Roman, just ends up hitting a little bit of shrubbery on the way out of my hand and ends up a little bit short, but I'm able to pitch up from about 100 feet and take an easy par there. So at this point, I'm 1 down through 4 holes, which is the best start that I've had so far. And I'm thinking, let's just pile it on hole 5. And so again, this is the 3rd day in a row where I've thrown a good shot on this hole. And the 2 days where I threw the best shot. Day 2, yesterday, I ended up birdieing it from about 10, 15, 20 feet. And it's the worst shot that I've thrown of all 3 days, but the other 2 ones got caught up on a tree and were at 80 feet. So I guess they weren't the best 2 shots, but they were the best feeling. And less than ideal. Didn't birdie that one. I messed up the start frame on that hole, so I apologize to my card mates for that because they all threw it absolutely perfectly. And we move into hole number 6, where I'm 1 under par. And going into this round, I knew that if I wanted to cash, I would likely have to shoot the course record. I'd have to shoot 9 or 10 under par. And at this point, I've shot in 7 over and 3 over. So it's not looking like a super likely possibility that that's going to happen. However, I knew that I was just there to play my own game and have fun and learn because, like I talked about in yesterday's video in the round 2 recap, I'm trying to use Cascade Challenge and then this weekend's go through events at Kayak Point to kind of get me ready and to know my discs and to feel more comfortable playing tournaments so that hopefully I can try to make the cut at Portland Open and get top 40% there, make some money, cash in my first real Pro Tour event that I've ever cashed at since I've only cashed at a silver event, and hopefully make a cut and play all 4 days instead of just 3, which would be incredible in Portland. That being said, I learned a lot, and I learned a lot about smoothing and slowing down. And so on hole number 6, it's a ripping right to left wind. Some of my card mates throw some crazy shots, which is really fun to watch. But I really just wanted to go up the gap, and I took my slightly lightweight 169 gram Halo S-Blend Emperor, which actually has some of those on my site. I'll leave all my discs linked down below if you want to check them out, amidst all of like my affiliate links and stuff that I have down there for my cart, my bags, my Vessies, my jersey, a bunch of stuff. But I ended up throwing a pretty perfect shot out of my hand. I knew it was good the whole way. I knew I gave it just the right speed, just the right height. And that shot taught me a lot because that's a 445-foot hole against the wind going uphill. And I didn't try to overpower it like I had been before. In a lot of shots, especially on tour, I see a long distance and I'm like, oh, I need to throw it as hard as I possibly can or really, really juice it rather than like choosing how hard I want to throw and then throwing it that hard. And a lot of that is just being smoother with my shots and accelerating into the hit rather than just trying to muscle it and throw it as hard as possible. And that taught me a lot about slowing down and throwing more committed, which I'm able to take with me through the rest of this round. I end up thinking I was parked, but I was actually 20 long. And so that really just went to show me that, like, hey, I do throw far enough to throw on these holes. I just need to trust that instead of trying to overpower it. End up tapping that one in. Not tapping. It's a really good putt because the wind has been out and my putt has not really missed dead center the whole day, which has been sweet. So 2 down through 6, hole 7, make the Mando, pitch up, take a par. Get a little lucky on the pitch up, but we'll take it. Hole 8 is another forehand, and I piped it. Again, with this Scepter, I'm loving throwing this thing. It's exactly how I visualize it out of my hand. I'm smooth, I'm controlled, I park it, end up going 3 down through 8 holes, and hole 9, I'm like, man, I can get to 4 through 9. And if I get to 4 through 9, I have a chance of like putting together a crazy good back 9 and potentially cashing, which would be insane to think about. And I got that out of my head, and it wasn't on my head on the tee pad, but I lined myself a little bit right. Threw a pretty solid committed shot, but I shanked it into a tree, so less than ideal. Hole 9 is one that I really wanted to get a couple days. It felt like a pretty easy chip forehand hole, but the wind was really bad for it every day, which added a good defense to the hole, actually, surprisingly. So less than ideal on that, and I chip around to get to the middle of the fairway, and then I'm a little bit cut off and threw an all right shot, but I juiced it a little long with my conker on the 3rd and ended up missing a 45-foot putt for par. So I ended up bogeying hole 9, bringing me back to 2 down, which is not the end of the world, but at this point I know cashing is likely out of the question, but I still want to play the best round that I can. And knowing that even par is like 10-20 rated, and under par, anything under par is like almost 10-30 in a lot of cases, I was just trying to shoot the best round that I could because I've never shot a round on tour that's over 10-20, maybe 10-15. I've thrown a lot of 1,000-ish rated rounds. It's between 1,000 and 10-10. But even all those rounds, I feel like I make a ton of mistakes. And I already feel like I've made a lot of mistakes this round. But the course is hard, and I know that I have the ability to score and play well on the back 9. And so I go into hole 10, which is the island hole, and end up making the island. I do hit this little log, and again, I don't really throw the best putt. I think I saw a book on the shelves of Barnes & Noble about like my play on this hole the last couple of days. It's called Diary of a Wimpy Kid. Go check it out. It's probably just gonna be a picture of me. So feel free to go and buy my autobiography at a Barnes & Noble near you. I think I read that when I was in elementary school or middle school or something. But hole 11, I switched up the game plan. I have my Sphinx, I have my Roman, and I need a disc right in between those instability. I need an Era in my bag, a Forged Era. And I just didn't put one in because I hadn't thrown it much in general, but I knew that the disc that I was looking for, that same stability, just in a driver, is what my Double G S-Blend Emperor was. So I take that out, and I was like, well, I'm just going to throw this, and as long as I get through the initial gaps, we're golden. I didn't hit my gap, but I got pretty lucky, and I missed it just like my practice round. If you watch that for Cascade Challenge, missed it inside, and I juiced it. I was about 70 feet longer than my practice round shot, and I actually was so far that I had to like do this little awkward forehand flex out, and I took my scepter, and I've been throwing it so well, and I just thought about being smooth and committing to the angle of the shot, and I throw a pretty sweet forehand turnover. I wind up in this bush, which actually surprisingly, there was a disc on top of my disc. My disc didn't come down, so I had to like mark it. And I think the same thing happened with Hannah Wynn actually on, I didn't watch FPO before my round. I was kind of getting everything prepared, as you guys saw, to leave my Airbnb. And I might have been on the course when she was on that hole, because I think she was on league card. But I found her disc in the friggin' tree. So that was a little less than ideal. I ended up getting it back to people who can get it back to her. But I make my putt. So I birdie hole 11, which brings me to 3 over on that hole for the weekend. Because I doubled it the first 2 days each. And I'm just trying to get no double bogeys this round. Ultimately, just trying to play my best. And to go start the hole 11 with under par stroke is pretty sweet in my books. Hole 12, potentially the hardest hole on the course. I have played it well in practice. I have thrown the drive really well. And instead of throwing my Sphinx, there's a little more wind. And I threw that same Double G Emperor. And I piped it so well. I'm throwing this disc so well in the woods, this 12 speed. I don't know what it is, but I'm loving it. Unfortunately, still don't have like the best footing and the best run up, and I ended up kind of shanking my Sphinx inside. Or maybe I threw that same disc. I don't remember, but I shanked it inside, and it wasn't good. I pitch up, and my pitch up with my scepter is from like 280 feet, big, high, stalling forehand that I knew I just needed to push far and hopefully get lucky, and I did, and I was inside the circle putting for par. But I guess this hole has my circle 1 number because I shorted it. I was a little afraid. I was like, wow, I can finally get a par. And I took a single, which is good. It's not a double. And I got a birdie on 11. So to go even instead of 4 over like I did on day 2 on those holes feels pretty good. Luckily, I choose not to take a one-shot energy shot thingy. And some of you guys are like, well, I'm surprised that you took that in the middle of a round. And you're right. I'm a little crazy. So I definitely should have done that in day 2. But I step up on day 3, and I shake my Sphinx. It was close. I just kicked a little left. And then I'm looking at this gap in the woods. I don't think we have a great angle of it, but basically I'm seeing the hallway that I think is the hallway, and I'm like, if I throw this shot exactly perfect, I can land in the middle of the hallway with like 200 in, and it'd be the craziest shot ever. There wasn't a really easy like chip around kind of shot, and I threw the shot out of my hand. I was like, oh my gosh, I did it. But I think someone got it or something, or I threw it a little too short, and it was just a touch too inside, so I don't end up throwing the best shot in the entire history of the entire world. Kicks off to the left in a really bad area. I throw my Sphinx again, kind of hits another tree, and then I throw this backdoor pen, and I make a putt for bogey. So it's not the end of the world. I go birdie, bogey on one of the harder 3-hole stretches, the hardest 3-hole stretch on the entire course. And so that's really not the end of the world. It's just disappointing to have never played that hole well the entire tournament. Or in practice, really even. I got a par on it. Pretty lucky on my first practice round through. But hole 14, I've been getting close. And I actually threw the best shot of my tournament on this one, except there's a little headwind and I overturned it. I could have thrown that Double G S-Blend Emperor that I've been throwing so well, but I really like the Sphinx on the shot just to throw a little slower rim through the gap. It feels a little more confident for me. And I ended up really overturning it. I think it hit something and it ends up a little bit shorter than I wanted. I give it a pretty solid bid from 100-something feet, and it sat close. I've been really good about giving soft bids from really far and giving them chances to go in. I just need to kind of dial that range in and be like Simon Lizotte. If you guys watched his final practice or his final round, maybe one day, but probably not. But maybe. You never know. Hole 15, I ended up throwing a little too juiced. I was a little too excited, and instead of throwing a pretty pushy hyzer, I ended up kind of flipping up my Double G Emperor. I was feeling really good throughout the day. I had actually gotten good sleep for once the night before, so I felt like that sleep really helped and is going to be very telling for me going into these next tournaments to make sure I sleep well enough. And I just straightened out the disc a little bit, and luckily I land right by this other tee pad, which is 415 feet. It's a par 4, the red course. and I find this gap to the right, and I'm like, if I throw through this gap and flip it up well, I can give myself a look. And I threw pretty much the shot that I wanted. Didn't flip up quite as much as I wanted because I had a pretty bad run up. And at the end of its flight, it hits a tree and flares pretty heavy to the left, like hits the root cluster and like swings off to the left. So I have a really long putt that I had a tree in my like straddle and my stance, so I couldn't really get a lot of power into it. Ended up taking a par though, which is definitely not the end of the world. I think that's my best score on that hole for the whole weekend. And that leaves us into the final 3 holes, where currently I'm 1 under par, and I'm 1 behind Aaron Gossage because I wanted to beat him that round. And I was kind of watching scores, and I knew that I was playing pretty solid because anything under par is really good at this course, and I just wanted to continue playing my game. So I step up to hole 16 and ended up throwing a pretty solid forehand. Again, I'm feeling a little juicy. I'm feeling excited. So I actually straighten it out, very similar to my drive on hole 15, and it goes a little long of my intended window, but it gets kind of a backdoor lucky little route, which some people intend to play. Don't tell anybody that I didn't intend to do that. If they ask, say that I did. But I end up having a circle 1 putt on this hole, and very similar to hole 12. I don't know what it is, but being close to the basket on this hole has my number, and I ended up missing this putt, which is very disappointing because that's my second circle 1 miss of the round. Both of them for really good scores on holes that I have struggled with in the past. That was my last circle 1 miss of the tournament, spoiler alert, and I only missed 5 circle 1 putts for the whole entire tournament. I would love to clean that up, and I made a lot of circle 2s as well, which is really nice. I think I had plus putting this weekend in the Nate Sexton Index, where you take your circle 1 misses and then add on your circle 2 makes, and I think I made more circle 2s than I missed circle 1s, which is really awesome for me in putting. And cleaning up the driving like I did this final round, I think continuing to move forward like this is nice. So I missed that putt, make the comebacker for the par 16. I throw the same disc, but this time because I know I'm juiced up, I know I can use that instead of just going and juicing a shot hard. I can use that and dial it into focus, and I throw a pretty perfect shot. I threw it exactly how I wanted to with that same slightly lightweight Halo S-Blend Emperor. That's a lot of words, but I feel like I have to say it every time. And I end up in a straddle in a bush from about 20 feet. Everyone on my card somehow is in the circle on this hole. I make my putt. We get a star frame. That's crazy on hole 17 at that course. That is such a hard hole to get a star frame on, but we did it. So I'm stoked on that. Big shout out to my whole entire card. And 18, I watch Aaron throw, and he hits this gap. And I was thinking Roman, Sphinx, what I do. I pulled out my double G Emperor, and I'm like, I see the gap that he threw through, which is pretty straight on. And if you get to that gap, your money. If you get a little right of that gap, your money. If you get a little left, it's a little scarier. But with this disc, I just like aimed for that gap and ripped it.
Great shot. Oh yeah.
Wow.
And when I tell you, I heavily doubt that somebody got farther than me on this hole. I'm like dead serious. My whole entire card is like, this is like farther than like AB's drives have been on this hole. Like, I cannot believe how far this disc went. I probably threw it 500 feet, like pretty close to that, like just piped through the woods with that late skip with the flare. I mean, it's at least 475, way down there. And I get up there, I have no idea what to do. I have my chicane in my hand. I'm like, there's this backdoor hyzer route. I'm like, I can't mess this up. And this is the best drive in the history of the entire world. What am I going to do? And then I'm like, the forehand seems like the right shot. Aaron Goss is in my card. I don't know why that's in the back of my head, but I'm like, I have to throw a good up shot. And forehand seems like it could be the right shot, but I'm a little scared of this tree. And then I go back to the backhand. I'm like, but I don't want to hit a tree early. And if I get through this gap, then I'll get through stuff. And so I ended up throwing the forehand, and I saw it off. It was so bad. And I saw off the shot. And, like, I don't think I could audibly hear it, but maybe I could. Like, the gasps from the people following the card. Big shout out to everyone who was following. You guys are amazing. It was awesome to be able to meet so many of you. I feel like I heard audible gasps, or maybe that was in my head of people like, oh my gosh, how do you mess this up? And I go to my caddy Chase, and I'm like, dude, if I mess this up, like, I'm going to hurt myself. Like, I'm going to do bad things because this is insane that I make this drive and have 170 feet in on a 700-foot par 4, and I'm not about to freaking get up and down. What in the world is this? So I end up 45 feet to the right of the basket after throwing the worst up shot ever. Step up. Don't really think about that anymore. I kind of allow myself to clear my head and get in a straddle. I don't like straddling to the left because the way that my putt works, it has a little hyzer finish, and I'm putting PA3s. So I'm not trying to like have something hyzer this way. If I can straddle around in a place where I can hyzer around a tree, then my putt kind of stays in the window longer, and I knew that. And I set up, and very similar to hole 17 on day 1, I end up throwing a solid putt.
Let's go.
And cashed it. So luckily I birdied hole 18 in the most dramatic way that I possibly could. Best drive in the history of the world in that hole. Worst upshot in the history of the world in that hole. pretty good putt. And I end up putting really well. I shot 3 down. Aaron shot 4. He got me. We kind of matched going down the stretch. Unfortunately, after the whole 13 is the last one that we didn't get the same. I bogeyed, he birdied. He was 1 up on me then. He was 2 down, I was 1 down. And then we matched on the way in. He shot 4 down, I shot 3 down. And it's like 1035 rated, something like that. My best round on tour so far. It brought me up 13 spots on the final day to 53rd place, which is my best finish on tour so far. Much better than the 99th. I was excited to compete. I felt like I was there. I felt like I was figuring it out. And honestly, had a pretty solid day. I mean, if we take away round 1, I cashed by a stroke, which is not how anything ever works, but if we did, that'd be the case. So I'm hoping to build on this momentum and just continue playing my game. I was having so much fun. I had a blast. I got to meet so many people. I was able to talk to people during backups. Like, I'm enjoying being on tour again. I feel like this is the way that I need to do it. And so I'm grateful for everyone who's been following this journey. That being said, that was not the end of the day. I had a little craziness getting up to my current Airbnb where I'm staying closer to Kayak Point now, and having to upload a video really late last night if you guys saw that. Big shout out Chase, the boy, the goat. Ended up even with him on the bag, +3, -3. And I mean, the rounds just kept getting better. +7, +3, -3. Felt clean, tied with Aaron for the tournament, even though he got me this round by 1. I was trying to get him, but then those freaking bogey, and he got some birds in there. Not clean. Best finish, I think, on tour. And I'll recap it later, but right now we're just excited.
Yes, sir.
I was telling him, dude, like, I would do something bad to myself if I couldn't birdie from that drive on hole 18, because everyone was literally saying that's further than AB's drive. I can't imagine someone threw that disc farther. I freaking pimped that thing, so. Made the man there.
It's tracking it. Go.
Oh, yeah.
Oh!
Baby's eating. I get to enjoy the beach. Classic way to end the day. Scare the Walmart security people because I was out looking at the kayaks and walking around with a laptop, acting all suspicious. They were chill. I just let them know that I have terrible Wi-Fi and I'm a YouTuber and I was uploading a video and they're like, ah, that's cool. I said, Walmart's got good fiber, so they were chill. Everything's good. But I'm just uploading a video in Walmart 15 minutes from my Airbnb because the new Airbnb has terrible Wi-Fi, which luckily this video that you're watching now, hopefully I'll start the edit and the upload 2 hours before I need to get it up. I've uploaded 25% in the 10 minutes that I've been here, and I uploaded 25% in the 45 minutes I was at my Airbnb. I feel bad for the Walmart security people for me being a freaking weirdo, but You gotta do what you gotta do. I do not miss having to go to the freaking Walmarts to upload, but it is what it is. It is what it is. Okay. See you guys soon. Thanks for watching. Fitting way to end it. Go watch other videos so that eventually I can buy a fishing kayak. I don't know. See you in the next one. Subscribe to the channel, please. I really appreciate you a lot. This has been a really fun week, and 2 more to go. Kayak Point this weekend. Got some fun videos lined up. Probably going to take tomorrow off from posting just to give myself a little bit of a rest. I feel like I've done every day since I've gotten to town pretty much. And then I'm excited for Oregon, Portland Open. I'm going to go catch some fish and make some fun dinner. Okay, see ya.